Sounds
All
good.
right, let's do it.
Perfect. Okay, so Sean, do you want to carry on? I think you started all of them when the last couple of times.
Yeah, sure. So the way I kind of started all of them was I'll ask you, Anton, just to kind of introduce yourself and what you do, just for the camera, and we'll take it from there then.
Yeah, so my name is Anton Czachor. I'm a reaction YouTube host. I'm a podcast host. My channel, essentially, like the main channel is ArcVision Media, and then I have like two subsidiary companies under it, which is ArcVision Reactions, which is probably the stuff that you're aware of, and then I have ArcVision, the ArcVision Podcast, which is kind of you know actually the first thing that I created. I actually created my podcast channel. I had the idea of my podcast channel before my reaction channel, actually.
So what was it that got you into podcasting? Was it like being into TV shows and talking about TV shows and that kind of thing, or what is your podcast all about?
Yeah, it was Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like
Yo.
dude, he's the best. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
I got into Joe Rogan about 3 years ago. I was in like my third year of college or something, my third year of university. And I didn't know what a podcast was. I just like, it was this new medium. And you know what? Speaking to you right now, I don't even remember the first episode I saw by Joe. I don't know how the fuck I figured out about Joe Rogan. I actually don't know how. And then he ended up being literally my life for 3 years. I would listen to like a podcast every other day. Like I'd finish a 3 hour podcast within 2 days. Every time I was in the car, like I OD'd on podcasts, legitimately, bro. Like I literally I listened to podcasts every single day for a year. I didn't listen to any music because growing up, man, I was listening to music all the fucking time. I love music, you guys. I'm a reaction channel guy, right? And I learned about podcasts. It was just I think because like I've always been like a deep guy. Like I like deep conversations, philosophy, psychology. I just like going deep with people. And like Joe was like the first person I ever came across that like he was real. Like I always grown up, I had a thing. I didn't like Hollywood. I didn't like all the mainstream bullshit. I thought everything was like, stage, fake. And nothing like every time I'd see an interview with like an artist or anybody that like I want like, I want to watch this interview. And the moment the artist would start getting deep on anything, like the fucking interviewer just like, okay, next question. I was like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are you doing? Like, you're about to get in to the real shit with this artist. Like Ed Sheeran or fucking Bon Jovi, someone like that we all love, like someone that we don't have access to talk to. And I like Joe Rogan was the first guy to just be real, like just sit there for 3 hours, not have questions and just have a conversation. I was blown away. And dude, I straight up, man, I was expelled twice growing up in like elementary school. I was suspended like 10 times, probably 20 times actually. And so like I kind of had a thing with school. Oddly enough, I wanted to be a teacher growing up, but like I just never vibed with school. I didn't like tests. I didn't like cramming. It felt like overly stressful, and above all, it was boring. And honestly, in that year of learning about Joe Rogan, I think I learned more about philosophy, psychology, health, nutrition, fitness than I ever had from any class I've ever taken in my life. And it changed my, like, honestly, Joe Rogan changed my life 100%. And yeah, I at that point I wanted to be a high school teacher. And then kind of Joe, he inspired me to try being a professor. Like at that point, I was so inspired by conversations with Joe Rogan and like people like even Jordan Peterson, like that kind of idea of like the the professor who's also a public speaker, who's also a author who's just a renaissance man. And I just like I think up until that point in my life, I didn't believe in myself in any way. I didn't think I was anything special. I thought it was like average intelligence. And you know he just opened my life up. He made me ask, like, what do I want to do with my life? And so he's the one who kind of inspired me to want to be a public speaker and professor. And then down the road, a couple of years later, 3 years later, that's when I was just thinking about things in my life, and I realized I wanted to be a podcast host.
That's amazing. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's a testament. Oh, sorry, Alex.
No, go on, Sean. Go on. You're grand, bud.
I was gonna say it's like a testament to Rogan's format in that it's a 3 hour interview or however long it might be, but it's completely unedited. You get to see warts and all, even if the person, answers a question and they probably didn't want to answer it a certain way. It's in, he's not cutting it out.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's brilliant. It gives you such a different perspective than the usual 5 minute interview that gets edited down and put on, like, I don't know, TMZ or whatever the channels.
Yeah, man.
But it's such a different you get such a different view of an artist or of a speaker or anyone just by virtue of them being in front of a camera for 3 hours as opposed to 5 minutes. But yeah, that's unreal.
100%, dude. I'm with you. I think he's gonna be looked back at one of the cultural paradigm shifters of our time. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Could I make a suggestion, Anton?
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know if you've ever heard of this person, but straight away comes into mind who I think you would really love in terms of reacting to their music, okay, but also listening to his podcast. Is this person called Blind Boy? Have you ever heard of Blind Boy podcast? No. Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview of who this person is, all right? So this person, Blind Boy, was in this band called the Rubber Bandits in Ireland, all right? And they used to wear plastic bags on their head, and that was their persona. But they would come out with the most ridiculous songs. Like, they'd come out with like a song about sniffing a bag of glue, or they'd come out about a song about like, I need a black man in my gang. Do you know, like these ridiculous songs, but they're really like they have a famous song that's called Horse Outside, where it's like kind of mocking these boy racers, and like, saying that, okay, you don't need to have a Mitsubishi Turbo because I have a horse outside, So like, they're really like, satire, but it was one person who was the brains behind all of them. The other person was just a backup, really. He was a dancer. But this person, Blind Boy, was from Limerick. And years later, I think due to the influence of Joe Rogan and stuff like that, because he really made podcasting a thing, that kind of influenced people like Blind Boy to make a podcast. But the thing about Blind Boy, and I think what you'd like about him, Anton, is he has a master's in I think it's sociology or psychology. And he basically, in terms of like anything Irish hip hop related, like he's a person, and the Rubber Bandits as a whole are people who there'll never be another Rubber Bandits in Ireland, like never be a comedy duo who will have the ability to write their own show in RT, our national broadcaster. So like RT now would be our national it'd be like your Fox, it'd be like your Saturday Night Live. They had the ability to write their own sketches and stuff like that, which is, unheard of. But I think the Blind Boy is someone who is like really deep into psychology. He goes on about how he had anxiety, and he just kind of says that he was a person who had immense anxiety, who would not go outside his door. And if you liked it, but then he turned into a person then that was going up, accepted his masters with a plastic bag on his head and stuff like that. Like, I think you'd really like him. If you like people like Russell Brand. Yeah,
I do. I fucking love Russell Brand.
He has a brilliant. He's a brilliant Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a brilliant podcast with Russell Brand, like, stuff like that.
One of the best, man. One of the absolute.
You'd love the Rubber Bandits and Blind Boy. 100%. No, you would. Like, you strike me as someone I'd like him. Okay, that was for the suggestion anyway. So
thank you, Alex. I appreciate that, dude.
No problem. Something to react to, because I say you'd really like stuff. I'll send you some links.
Man, throw it in the Patreon, bro.
Yeah, throw it in the Patreon. Brilliant. Yeah, we're gonna get to some questions like that now. Definitely, we're gonna get to some questions. But yeah. So look, I guess like from a brief overview of watching your reaction channel, the ARC reactions, I've noticed that
Yeah. Hold on. It's Arc Vision.
Arc Vision, Arc Vision,
Arc, like
Arc
ARC Arc.
Sorry about that. So Arc.
Hey, bro, that doesn't matter. It's just like if you are gonna do the documentary, I don't want it to be like ARC reaction.
Oh yeah, true. No, 100% right, pal. But I guess like would you have any preferred music genre when you're creating? I do see sometimes that you'd label yourself as a metalhead. Would I be correct in saying that? So I guess
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is like, would you tend to be eclectic in terms of reacting to any music genre, really? Because by the looks of it, you have a timeline on your description of your about page. So I guess my question is, would you have any preferred genre that you'd look forward to reacting during the week?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think like when I first started this, I was a metalhead through and through. I would like exclusively listen to melodic death metal, metalcore, like, you know, I love metal, and I still, metal's one of my favorite genres. But in taking this kind of journey with reactions, what started off is like, I was like, okay, like I need to find a niche because there are thousands of reaction channels on the internet. And how do I make any of my stuff stand out when people have been doing this for 3-4 years? They have, like, you know, you have Alex Hefner who has like 650,000 subscribers. I'm like, how do I carve out a niche? And I kind of got a lot from Alex. Alex was one of the people that kind of gave me the template of how to do things in some sense, because he was a hip hop head who started listening to metal. And I was like, you know what? I can do the opposite. I'll be a metalhead and my thing will be, I'll just try listening to rap and pop and classic rock and country. And so what happened was, it started off as like, if you look at my playlist, I have like 400 rock and metal reactions and like 100 pop reactions, 60 rap reactions, stuff like that. But as time went on, man, honestly, I look more forward to the pop and classic rock reactions than anything else now. Oddly enough, if you look at my playlists from a year ago when I started this channel, or actually 9 months ago, last June, like it was all rock and metal. And then now I find myself probably a majority of the time listening to, you know, pop and not like mainstream pop, but like, you know, what I consider good stuff. Like, honestly, man, I'm really blown away by like Kelly Clarkson, Celine Dion, Roxette, Hart, Bonnie Tyler. Like, there are these artists that I didn't even know existed that have now, like, I really vibe with them because I think like I'm more self-aware in my life right now. So rather than when I'm in a good mood, like listening, or like in any mood before, I'd listen to melodic death metal. Like, you know what I mean? If I was, it was the beautiful day outside, I'd be cruising around and I'd just be like listening to screamo. You know what I mean? And now I think I'm much more sensitive to my moods. And so I find a lot of time I'm in a really good mood nowadays because, you know, I've been through a lot of shit in my life. And so I found myself like kind of just craving, you know, emotional music, like really heart-centered stuff. You know, pop, like a lot of, like, I'll be listening to Kelly Clarkson a lot and Celine Dion, like, it just, you know, calming music. Because I find like with my type A personality, and always like I have 3 jobs. I have this job, I have another job where I do groups and stuff, and then I have a job at Good Life Fitness. So like between those 3 jobs, like my head's always kind of running, and I find metal ramps up my brain, and I find pop and that chiller stuff, it helps me kind of calm down. And honestly, yeah, to answer your question specifically, I'd say that, yeah, I probably look forward to pop and classic, like the classics and stuff more nowadays than anything else.
If you could have said to Anton 5 years ago that you were going to be listening to Kelly Clarkson and
dude,
what do you think you would have said?
I would have said you're fucking crazy, dude. I'm too busy listening to Bullet for a Valentine and In Flames, man.
Brilliant.
That's crazy how things just I suppose once you kind of have that eye-opening experience as well, and you kind of open the floodgates to all these new experiences, and yeah, just kind of it just broadens your horizons, I suppose, in a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's just I feel like, in some ways this channel has just opened up my mind and my life in just ways I could have never expected, man.
That's interesting you said that, because that's kind of like a common theme that we're seeing with all the guys and gals that we're talking to who do reaction videos. It's that they kind of almost fall into this, but their niches almost by accident in a way, sometimes by design, but a lot of the time they come out of it with much more of an appreciation for the music that they might not have been into initially. Or for example, one of the guys we interviewed initially, he was always really into soccer, and just by virtue of his fans, he got really into Brazilian soccer, and now that's like exclusively his thing that he does. But he has loads of fans, and like he was saying to us, like most of the comments aren't even in English; they're in Portuguese. So
Wow.
it's crazy, yeah. But it's this unbelievable snowball effect that I've kind of noticed with everyone that we've interviewed, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned how it seems like reaction artists fall into niches, because I fell into mine. Like I thought my niche was going to be a majority of rock and metal music and flirting with pop and flirting with rap and maybe doing that stuff once a week.
Mm.
And what I've realized is like there's this fan base out there, there's this community. And oddly enough, the first one that cracked it open was Kelly Clarkson. I did a reaction to Behind These Hazel Eyes. It was one of the first reactions I did within the first 2 months of the channel. And I just came across that song. I was like, you know what? Let's try out Kelly Clarkson. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know she was big. I remember hearing about her years and years ago when I was growing up, and I listened to that song and I liked it a lot. I thought it was a good song. And then all of a sudden, man, that video just, blew up. Like for me at that time, dude, I had like 50 subscribers and my average views were like 10. And then like I listened to that song and that video goes to like 1,000 views. And I got a whole bunch of subscribers from that video alone. And that was the first feeling where I was like, I'm on to something here. Like there's a community here. There's a fan base here. There's a niche here. And I didn't think much about it, actually. I just kind of kept doing my thing, more rock reactions, more rap reactions, just blindly fumbling my way in the dark. And then I listened to another Kelly Clarkson song and blew up again. And like just the feedback, man, was just like nothing else had ever gotten up until that point. Like people appreciated those videos in a way that they had never appreciated anything of mine before. And I just kind of really felt a kind of a strong sense of community and kind of family with the Kelly Clarkson community. And that's when it dawned on me that maybe I wouldn't be choosing my niche. Maybe my niche would be choosing me.
That's powerful, man. Definitely powerful. Yeah, so look.
Entry.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess for me, like something that stands out there and what you mentioned is this sense of community, this sense of connection. So can you just refer to us more about this sense of connection and community, like, and how does that inspire you to make content, and does it, like, basically make a lot of the diction for how you make your videos and pursue them? So do you basically get inspired to make content for your subscribers in that sense?
Yeah, I definitely am inspired to make content for my subscribers. When I started this thing, it started very much as a hobby. Like I knew I wanted to do this full time down the road, but I could have never expected what it would mean to people, oddly enough. Because I was just doing it for myself. I was just doing it because it was fun, and maybe I'd be able to turn this into something down the line. And when people started to care, like when those like Kelly Clarkson fans started showing up, and I it dawned on me, and kind of in reflection, like it almost moved me to tears at one point, that like that was just something I never expected having. And I never expected people to really care. Like, it's weird. You think that, oh, you're saying a reaction channel, of course you're going to get a community, a fan base, but no, I don't think you actually think about it in a real way. I think that it's something that gets overlooked, and when it ends up on your lap, when you have these people here that care, there's just a feeling, a bond you get with these people that you're not expecting. And then you get caught up in this momentum of, especially when I launched my Patreon and people actually started like physically, tangibly supporting the channel. And then like I kind of like let them choose, a song every Sunday. And then I added to that later, and I said, you know what, actually, like, you get to choose who we're going to react to next week. I added that kind of functionality. And then especially in this last month, I'm actually putting up a video right now. It's probably out in 1 minute, but it's kind of like the highlights of March for me. Like, and I feel like this month in March, my channel evolved. Like it turned into something that it never was before. It really, I think this month found its identity. And what I did was like, I was really kind of listening to the feedback and looking at the analytics. And what I realized was, not many people were subscribing to country. Not many people were subscribing to rap. What I noticed was I got a lot of love from pop, classic rock, classic pop, and like rock. Less metal, actually. I don't get that many subscribers from metal. It's more rock, like Starset and Red, kind of the, Linkin Park, that kind of thing. And I just, I said, like, fuck it. Like, I've been holding on to this idea I had in my head since day one about what I wanted the channel to be. And when it dawned on me that the channel was not going to be what I thought it was going to be, the channel's going to evolve into this thing that is the combination of my energy and my community. Like what this channel is becoming is this like give and take of me and my community. It's just like this. It's like a Play-Doh ball that we're passing back and forth between each other, and we're taking turns molding it. And then what it is at the end is something that's outside of my hands and outside of their hands. It's something that we've created together. And I feel more than anything, that is what this channel is becoming, and what I feel like it's going to further become in the future. It's just going to take a life of its own, I feel.
That's really cool that you said that. Yeah, I was sorry, something just popped up on my screen.
A gift from Zoom. Oh, brilliant! Thank you. Thanks so much.
Dude, that's amazing.
We're not in
the gods of Zoom have given us unlimited gifts.
I love it.
Yeah,
I do generally love it. It's just on the screen.
That's
brilliant.
fabulous.
Fabulous.
But you were saying, Sean?
I was gonna say something about. Yeah, I was just thinking while you were saying there about how yourself and your audience almost are building this thing together, and I suppose in a way, like the way that you're doing your reactions, you're getting, I presume you're getting suggestions from your viewers through Patreon, like you were saying, and in a way then I should say, your viewers are kind of being introduced to this music as well, or you know what I mean? There's kind of a cycle where these your viewers are being introduced to this new music, so are you, and it's kind of like a constant kind of a give and take, back and forth sort of thing going on.
Yeah, there's definitely this like ebb and flow, and you know what? More than anything, what I love seeing is I love seeing my audience take chances on new stuff. Because there was this one girl at the very beginning of the channel. Her name was Kara, and she was with me since probably 40 subscribers, maybe even 20. And I remember she was like the first one to just be like, hey, like, I love all of your videos. And she was like, her favorite artist was Public Enemy. She loved old school classic hip hop. Nice. Like Notorious B.I.G. was one of her favorites too, I believe. And she was so moved by me listening to rap for the first time that she said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on you, and I'm going to listen to everything you put out. And like Kara and I, she was the one that really started this whole thing for me. I feel she was the first fan I had. She was the first person that I saw every day in the comment section, and she brought a smile to my face. Like I finally at 40 subscribers felt like I had someone waiting for my content that I'd never had before. I felt like I owed it to someone to do my best in a way that before I was just putting out videos hoping that someone would care one day, and when she kind of did that, I was like, like I love you, Kara. Like, you're very special to me. And she's incredible. And she really gave me the confidence and made me feel like I might be onto something with this.
Mm. Mm.
And does she still wind up in your comment section today and everything?
Yeah, she does for sure. Yeah. She comes by the Discord, and she's on the Patreon and stuff. And yeah, she's awesome. She always she has a bit like of social anxiety. So as soon as this thing like started growing to like 20,000 subscribers, she started like, she was like, I'm a bit nervous now. Where before it was almost like a one-way communication between Kara and I. Like she was the only one, and she'd write me these big paragraphs about, you should check out Public Enemy and Rage Against the Machine and like all these artists. And yeah, it was incredible to have her around. She believed in me when no one else did.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's brilliant. I can, like, speaking from a music background myself, like, as you could tell, Notorious B.I.G., like I'm huge 90s hip hop fanatic. So but like for me, like my journey, like learning music and stuff like that, was like I became embedded in jazz, and these protest music and stuff like that. But I'd like a buddy similar to yourself that I think growing up, like he was always metal. And then there became a point where we were like 15, 16 that, we'd have our own things, but we kind of used to say, oh, I prefer this. But then there was like, I prefer this, but how do you like that? And then it came to a point where I was like, do you know what? I think this is actually good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think this is really good. Like, so showing me stuff like Metallica and stuff like that, and that's where the beauty happens. It's this convergence of like meeting in the middle, and I felt like you experienced that with that loyal subscriber, and I think it's going to just come into the question I'm going to ask next. And I think the question is, so you mentioned two things that inspired you there to start the YouTube channel. Like that person, I say, to have that kind of feeling that there's at least one person that is looking forward to your reaction, that could only just like make you just go up from there. It can only just go get higher, in terms of the passion. And that once that happens, it's like, all hell's breaks loose. Like, but I guess even from, if we just trim it down and even go further, like let's look at the Arc Vision Media of no subscribers. So like, what inspired you to start making reaction videos? I heard that person you also mentioned, he was a big reason as well.
Yeah. What inspired me to make Arc Vision reactions was like I was really depressed about 2 years ago. Like I was like pretty like kind of suicidal, and I just felt like I was aimless, confused, and just I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. This was right around the time when I kind of realized I didn't want to be a teacher anymore, and probably not even a professor. And I just, like I didn't have a job, and I was just kind of like at home every day playing video games and watching music videos and watching Alex Hefner and Vin and Sori, kind of these two reaction channels that kind of really inspired me later down the road. But I just felt like I was doing nothing with my life. I felt like I was just waking up and doing the same shit over and over and not giving back to anybody or anything. I just felt like I'm like, what's the point in any of this? And so when I was watching Alex Hefner and Vin and Sori, they were making content that I loved. Like they were inspiring me. They were, giving me something to look forward to every day when I had nothing to look forward to. And it just dawned on me, like after listening to all these podcasts and all this stuff and loving podcasts, I was like, you know what? This thing's right in front of my face. I was like, what's like, my mom always told me growing up, she's like, you have the best taste in music like I think I've ever heard. Because even though I didn't listen to a lot of pop or classic rock or anything, anytime I'd hear it, I'd be able to analyze it and dissect it. I'd be able to, I just feel the vibe in a way that she had never experienced before. So she always commented on that. She always thought that, I had this kind of appreciation for music that she thought was very rare. And so what happened was, I was like, you know what, I could try this. I could try this reaction thing, and maybe it won't get very big, but you know what, I'm not doing anything with my life anyway. I may as well let's just make a couple of reactions every day and give back to the world in some way, because I'm not doing it any other way. And so it literally became a way for me to become creative. It became a way for me to create, because at that point, I wasn't creating anything in my life. I was not doing anything meaningful. I was never giving back to anybody. And I was like, you know what? If I just do this, even if no one even watches them, who cares? At least I'm doing something. At least I'm taking a chance with my life and just putting myself out there. And I just, I remember I did my first reaction one day. I just like called up my mom. I was like, hey mom, I just did my first reaction. And she's like, oh, how'd it go? I was like, I think it was great. And then now looking back, I'm like, that was terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so bad. But at the time, man, I thought it was because it was my best. I was doing my best. And that's kind of what just kept me going. I like, at first, every time I'm doing these reactions, wherever I am today, I think I'm doing a great job. And then I look back at like a month earlier, or like half a year earlier, and I'm like, wow, those are bad. Like, like just all these things I've kind of learned over the last couple of months. It just keeps improving, I feel.
Yeah, and I think for me hearing that, like, you do strike me as a very deep thinker, and it probably bleeds through in your videos as well. And I guess like my question is like, I would it be fair to make the assertion that like this sense of giving back and creating helped you forge an identity by making reaction videos?
So what do you mean? If you could phrase that in another way, what do you
No
specifically
problem.
mean?
So like, did this channel help you forge an identity? Do you know what I mean? In terms of that, you mentioned that you were in a bad position 2 years ago mentally, and you felt that if I'm not creating anything, and you viewed that creating this content was a form of giving back to the people in a sense. And I guess my question is, did this help you like forge an identity and help you get out of a bad place for you?
Yeah. It 100%. It definitely it has forged an identity for me. It's this thing is become my therapy, man. Like, honestly, I'm very open with my subscribers and my community and in my videos. Like, I've teared up on videos if a song really kind of hits home, and kind of the broken household I came from. I This is kind of like, yeah, this has been my therapy. It's been my way of understanding myself, because it's my way of being thoughtful and reflecting on my own life, and at the same time creating something for other people. But oddly enough, man, it's never the initial thing is never about the audience. Like, I don't even think, like, in some essence, I'm talking to myself. Like what the fuck are we doing at a reaction channel? We're speaking to a camera. That's what we're doing. We're visualizing people on the other side. But I'm having a conversation with myself. I'm reflecting on this song. I'm reflecting on what the song makes me feel, on what it brings up, what traumas it, what wounds it makes me reflect on. And in so doing, I've grown a lot over these 9 months. When I look, like, these videos are they're a time capsule. They're a time machine of, where I was at. They're a time machine of how I viewed myself, how I viewed the world, how I viewed life. And it's astonishing because, even as much as a video from a month ago, I go, wow, like I view that differently now. And it's funny that these are my journals. These videos are my journals. They are, just, yeah, they're the logs of the way I view life. They're, logs of my life.
I think that's an amazing way of looking at it, like journals. So I guess like, in terms of just a big reason why we're doing this documentary in the first place is that we have a fascination behind the question of why do people feel the need to watch someone else reacting to content that it is easy for them to just view it themselves. So why do you think that someone would say, okay, I'm going to react to, your basically, I'm just going to watch you react to something.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a sense of closeness or?
I think reaction channels are, in a sense, one of the oldest art forms, or one of the oldest ways of connecting with people. Because, think about when you were a kid, right? You had your dad, you had your mom, you had your friends. When you listened to a piece of music, when you watched a movie, when you read a book, and it moved you so much that it became part of your identity, it became something that you loved so much, what's the first thing you did? You showed somebody. Not only did you show somebody, but it would have been way better if you can show someone and be in the room with them. There's one thing of sending someone a song you love. There's another of, hey man, I'm coming over. I have this new mixtape of, Notorious B.I.G. or Metallica. We need to check this out together. What's that thing about together? That's a key component, because we're a connective species. We love sharing. That's our biggest MO, is we love sharing our feelings. We love sharing what is meaningful to us. And that's all a reaction is. All a reaction is you're doing what you have always done, growing up with your parents, with your friends. It's the same thing. On paper, when I tell people I'm a reactor, it can sound dumb. It's like, people pay me to listen to music, but it's way deeper than that. People, this is so embedded in who we are as, a species. Reacting is, it's one of the oldest things that we have.
It's a very sophisticated way of, articulating this, and I think really, really amazing hearing that. I think I'm kind of hogging you now to small bit now, Anton, so I'm going to pass it to Sean to ask a few questions.
All right.
Yeah, you mentioned there about connectivity and how we are just a connective species. That's what we're all about. And I was kind of having a similar thought recently enough about how about the internet, really, and about how the internet has kind of opened the floodgates for worldwide connectivity on a level that we've never up until now experienced. And in a way, it's kind of, after making the world a lot smaller than it was. How you might know someone and they might know one of your buddies, and you say, oh, small world, but I think the world is it might be the same size, but it's getting smaller in that sense, just with the amount of connectivity that there is. But I'm trying to think of a way to phrase a question.
Well, actually, I think I kind of know where, in some sense, maybe I'm projecting, but one kind of example of how the internet has made the world a small place is one of my favorite podcasters is a guy by the name of London Real, Brian Rose.
Oh, yeah.
And what happened was, I had been watching his shit for years, last 2 or 3 years, right? And so about 3 months ago, I'm reached out to by this band, Dear Mother. And they're like, hey man, can you check out our song, right? So I looked up the song and I dug it. I was like, hey, I checked out another song that they had done and I liked it. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do a reaction to your song. And so I do a reaction to the song and I dig it. It's a great song. And somehow, I don't know why, but it made me think of London Real. It kind of made me think of this kind of Stick It to the Man, revolution, kind of idea, right? V for Vendetta kind of thing. And so I mentioned London Real, and dude, he messages me on Instagram. He says, "Hey, it's funny you mentioned London Real because I actually work for Brian." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, wait, like Brian Rose, like the guy running for like the mayor of London, England. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've been working for Brian for like 3 or 4 years." I was like, "Small world." Like, I was like, "Yo, literally, when I started this channel, I have three big goals with this, big intentions. I want to get on Kelly Clarkson's TV show within 5 years. I want to get on Joe Rogan within 5 years. I want to get on London Real within 5 years." And when he reached out, I was like, "Holy shit, man! Like, this might happen quicker than I thought." And so I had David, who's the lead vocalist of this band, the videographer of London Real. I had him on the podcast, and we hit it off, man. That guy's just such an incredible, lovely, loving, open-hearted guy. And we were just laughing our asses off for like an hour straight, talking about how we met Brian and his band. And dude, this thing has opened up my life. This is what I'm talking about. Like this channel has opened up my life in a way that I could have never expected. It is, put me in touch with bands and artists that I've loved for years since I was, 17 years old. Like, one of my favorite bands, Demotional. They're this melodic death metal band from Sweden. And I've been loving them since 2013 when I was in my first year of university. And sure enough, man, like, I reached out and he came on the podcast, and now I'm like buddies with the lead vocalist of that band. And I'm just like, how the fuck did this happen? Like, just this
Crazy.
little fucking reaction channel is now opening the floodgates to everything I want to do with my life. Like, this thing is becoming, but it's like magic, man. This thing is magic.
That's incredible. And I just like, I know we know each other for about 45 minutes, but just based on that, I think it's well deserved that all the success that you've gotten. Like, you can just tell that you're a open-hearted guy, and you're just dead on, like, peace and all that. But
thanks, Sean, man. I appreciate that, brother.
No better person for it to happen to.
Thank you.
But I'm trying to think, do I have any more questions? I suppose in terms of reaction channels in general, do you think what makes people, or what gets people engaged, or gets people kind of hooked on a specific channel? Would you say that it's like the personality of the creator themselves, or the stuff that they're reacting to?
I think it always starts with people come in for the stuff you're reacting to. Like, the fact is, nobody would take a chance on any channel if you weren't reacting to a song they liked. Like, how do you get your first subscriber? You react to a band somebody likes, and maybe you react to two of their songs. Somebody goes, "Hey, I kind of like this guy, and I want you to react to more Shinedown." You know what I mean? And then they subscribe, and yeah, people always come in for the band, like, that's just the way it is. And hopefully, if you are, open-hearted enough, if you are thoughtful enough, if you stand out in some way, they will stay for you. Like, there are, there's probably 70% of my, community who, only watches the stuff that they like, the genres they like, the artists they like. But there's like a 10 to 15, 20% of people that, take chances and check out different things. And they take chances because they're taking chances on me. They're not taking chances on music, they're taking chances on me. And they trust me. They trust, at least if they maybe won't like the song, they like me enough to want to spend 10 minutes with me, 10 minutes out of their busy day or whatever. Right. So yeah, I think that, the songs, the bands are what brings people in, but it's the reactor that has people stay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I suppose another question then I had, I'm trying to remember my pre-prepared ones.
Do you have all the questions? Because I know Medea, she has sent me a list.
Yeah, I have it up there now. There was one that caught my eye. Oh yeah, so it was, do you think that the reaction videos benefit the people who create the music and the content that you react to? as well as, you know, benefiting your own channel.
Yeah, 100%. I think that reaction channels have a symbiotic relationship with artists because, and it depends on the size of the artist. Like if you're friggin' Metallica or, you know, Miley Cyrus, you don't need reaction channels. You literally, everybody on the planet knows your name. You don't need reaction channels. And that's why you'll notice the big artists, when you react to their stuff, they block you. You know what I mean? They say, hey, this is copyright, you can't do it. The small stuff, they're like, hey, can you react to our song? Like literally there's this whole industry opening up about this relationship between artists and reactors. Like we are marketing now. Like people are starting to put, record labels are starting to put an amount of their marketing budget into paying reactors to listen to their music. That never existed before. People used to have to put your song on YouTube on an advertisement. They had to put you at a Super Bowl halftime show. They had to put you into marketing. They had to do that kind of thing now. And the thing is, that was all bullshit because, you know, it's not authentic. It's not real. They're not targeting an audience. They're not, you know, they're just throwing it out there, throwing money at it and hoping that somebody likes it. The cool thing about us reactors, this industry that's opening up, is they get to actually have a relationship with us. They get to kind of, you know, vibe with our brand. They get to vibe with me, figure out what is Anton like. And then, you know, there's certain artists who, you know, they like me and they come and they're like, hey, you know, can you do a reaction to our song? And that's targeted marketing. But more importantly, that's natural marketing. That's effortless flowing marketing. That's not even like, yeah, it's marketing, but it's true. It's real. It's like, my audience, like if they do it well, if they find the right reactor to push their song, they don't have to fake it. It's not like that bullshit social media marketing where you're just putting on a facade and hoping that it goes well. This is probably for the first time ever a grounded, down to earth, authentic form of marketing that's really never been seen before, I think.
Yeah, it's very much a kind of a grassroots sort of a thing because I would imagine that record labels can kind of target specific reactors and say, oh, he tends to react to metal, so we'll send him a song or our new metal band or whatever. So I would imagine, does it kind of go like that? Have you been approached by, let's say, metal bands or metal labels, or have you been approached by just a variety of bands? Because I know you kind of do a lot of different stuff on your channel. Yeah.
So first of all, Sean, your microphone got really loud there. I don't know what happened. For some reason, it just got louder. But to answer your question, I get approached by every single possible kind of genre artist. I get approached by a lot of rock and metal artists. I get approached by R&B artists. I get approached by rap artists. I get approached by pop artists. I get approached by the only one I actually haven't got approached by yet, oddly enough, is country. Country. I have yet to have a country artist reach out to me, but yeah, I've been mostly it's rock and metal. I find it's probably because that is what I'm trained at. That is what I'm able to articulate best. I can break down song structures, you know, melodies, riff structures, vocal kind of stuff. Like I understand metal. Metal's I kind of understand at like a mathematical equation level in a lot of ways. And so I'm a really, like, I have a, what would you call it? I have an understanding. There's I have an understanding, an instinct to it that I think people, you know, artists look for. Because like, honestly, dude, if a rapper came to me, I was like, this is a waste of your time, man. I'm not, you know, it's not my base genre. I wouldn't do it justice. It's actually why I took rap off the channel as a dedicated day, because I just realized that like I have like mild ADHD. And so like I find the thing with rap is I have a very hard time doing it justice, because by the time I understand the first bar, there were like 5 bars deep, like where I'm always like, I get it now. And then like song's over. And I'm like, I finally get that first bar. Like, so I think as this channel has grown, I have I understand where I fit into the reaction circuit better now. I figure out what my niche is, what I'm good at, what I excel at, and I've figured out very honestly what what I'm not as good at, and I play to my strengths now. I play to my audience.
And so I suppose you've kind of learnt on the job in a sense as well over the course of your channel growing, that you kind of know where to put your eggs.
100%, man. I realized, just like I said, man, most people subscribe to pop, oddly enough. Like, and not, I don't even want to say pop is beyond that. A lot of people subscribe to like soul and R&B. I've realized one of my niches is pretty much I'm that, like, my thing I've realized from people is like I'm like the thoughtful reactor guy, and I'm the like the vocal guy. Like, I love good singers, Kelly Clarkson, Celine Dion, Sarah McLachlan, Roxette Hart, stuff like that. And that's kind of what I'm known for now is like vocal performances. And it just so happens that a lot of, the best singers are pop and classic rock singers. So I find my audience for that is huge. Like, just the reception to those kind of artists just eclipse the reception of any other artist I have on the channel. Like, a lot of people like my reactions, and then when it comes to those artists, people are like I've literally been told over and over and over, like, I'm the best in the game at like certain kind of artists. They're like, yeah, you're the best reactor of the genre, hands down. And then, like, I'll react to country and they're like, oh, we like your reactions. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go in the direction where people literally think I have, like, I'm in the upper tier rather than other genres where I'm in the middle to lower tier.
I get you.
So yeah,
sorry, Alex. No, go on. Go on ahead. I've been
talking
now.
As you can tell, Anton, this is a very Irish thing. We tend to speak over each other because I
love it. I love it.
Sean, you can go ahead, buddy. You're a grand pal. Go on.
Oh, I was after hagging Anton there now for a while.
No, you can hag it back. It's grand. Last question.
Yeah, I'm after forgetting my question now in the middle of all of this.
He's lying now. He's only been a chance for him. It's only been a chance. Okay, so Anton, I say, for me, like, getting from that, one of the questions I have is just, would you particularly, I say play would be too strong of a word, but would you be influenced to follow a certain direction that your subscribers leap through? Because that's what it sounds like, in a sense that that pop and R&B gets you this kind of, this bit of a fan base, and it's a bit lucrative. So would you like plan ahead, or would you leave that ultimately influence you, or would you leave it like, say, no, I'm not going to leave it influence me all the time, but I'm going to
I meet it halfway. Like, just in life, I'm an extremely structured person. Like, I planned out, I wrote down how many subscribers I would have every year. Like, what does it say? Like, I wrote a piece of paper a year ago. It says, like, I'm going to have 1 million subscribers by January 2023. And, like, I'm going to have 100 to 200,000 subscribers by December of 2021. And so, like, I plan these things out. And one other thing I planned out is, like, yeah, like, I thought this was going to be a rock and metal reaction channel. So even though I have a strong sense of direction on the channel, I'm open to my community meeting me halfway and us creating something together. Like, I'm just not the kind of person, I would never give up my integrity or my authenticity to just kind of do everything the community wants me to do. Because at the same time, my community is vast. It's from different, like, if I literally listen to every single person in my community, I would never be doing anything, because they'd be saying only do rap, never do rap, only do stand-up comedy, never, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody wants something different. And so essentially what I do more than anything is, like, at the end of the day, like, I know what I'm good at. I'm very clear at what I do well, and I'm very clear at what I love. It just so happens that what I'm good at is what I love. Kelly Clarkson is one of my favorite artists on the planet. Celine Dion is one of my favorites. Roxette, Hart, these artists I keep talking about. And there's a reason, and it just so happens that out of those specific artists that I love and that I can I get in their head. Like the one thing that separates these artists from others is that for some reason I get them. Like I speak their life. Like, we pretty much did a Kelly Clarkson full album reaction, and I was like psychoanalyzing her entire life on that album. Because Kelly and I come from, in some respects, similar backgrounds, that was a very emotional reaction album to me, because I felt her pain. I knew where she was coming from. And because I loved it, because I got it, because I could connect with it at such a deep level, that community that is around Kelly took a liking to me. And like, don't get me wrong, like there are a billion incredible communities out there. And am I going to connect with every single one of those communities? No. And I'm not going to connect, possibly with the notorious BIG community. Like I have a hard time relating to that. Right. But like, there's incredible communities everywhere. And it just so happens that, again, it's not like I'm letting people dictate the direction of the channel. My natural passion attracts an audience, and then we together create this thing of what the channel is becoming. So we're doing it together. But even in the genesis, it's still me, because they wouldn't have liked the channel so much if I didn't like that artist. You know what I mean? Like when they see my face light up, or when they see me like brought to tears, moved to tears, like they're like, we found you. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I found you guys, because we share something so deep with these artists, these artists. And that's what it turns into. It's not them leading the channel. It's not me leading the channel. It's together. We're a reflection of each other. My community is a reflection of me, or they wouldn't have stuck around. They wouldn't have subscribed. They wouldn't have paid me fucking real money to react to things. That means that they care they see something in me that they see in themselves. And that's why I'm able to speak to the camera. And when I'm speaking to myself, yeah, I'm having a conversation with myself, but I'm having a conversation with them too, because they're a reflection of me. Everything that I'm saying, all the fucking therapy I'm going through, all the conversations I'm having with myself, I have the confidence that I can speak to them directly, because they are me. We're a reflection of each other. We vibe, and we're passionate about the same things in life. And in a way, you end up speaking to yourself. That's what these people are. They're a reflection of you. And so, you might be like, yeah, your audience is steering the direction. It's like, no, my audience is me. I'm my audience. We're the same thing. We're steering this thing together.
That's an amazing way of putting it, Anton. So I guess another question that I have would be, two words that kind of jumped out at me would have been authenticity and truth. And I guess a big reason why we're doing this documentary is we want to find out as well. An underlying question is, because we want to find out is, do reaction artists fake their reactions? Do they play up for the camera, or is it 100% their true selves? So would you say that, to ask you the question is, would you have ever played up to, the camera? Would be a bit much, because you don't strike me as someone that does. You think so?
Yeah. I think that, first of all, it depends on the reactors. And even I guess in the question of what is authenticity, like there's some reactors that are hype men. They're hype men, right? They're hype women, hype men. That's the thing. And is that inauthentic? Maybe they're legitimately, like, they're the kind of people that go to a party and they love being the center of attention. They love the energy. They feel that. They thrive off that energy. So yeah, are they hype men? Yeah. But maybe that's legitimately who they are. Like, where with me, and to your question specifically about do you play up reactions? I think everybody starting out, every single reactor plays up reactions. I know I did. When I didn't have confidence in this thing yet, when I didn't believe in myself, fuck yeah, I played things up. You know what I mean? I tried to convince myself I liked things more than I did. because I wanted to give people a reaction that was worth their time. Because if I kind of like something and they're watching me for 15 minutes out of their day and I just kind of like it and I just go, hey, that was all right, I feel like I wasted their time. So when I was starting out, if I kind of like something, I might be a bit more enthusiastic about something I did like. If I liked 10% of it, or I liked 15% of it, or 50% of it, I'd take what I liked and I'd overplay it, because there is some truth in that, but I don't do that anymore. As my confidence has grown, as I've figured out my identity with this thing, as my bond with my community gets stronger, and I become more confident in my own skin, I don't feel the need to do that. I'm a lot more honest now. I'll say if I like something, I'll say if I don't like something. And even as I build this community around me, as I build my confidence, now there's actually something to saying I don't like something, or that I wish something had more. Because when I was starting out, I didn't have the confidence to have an opinion if it was negative or if it was lukewarm. I felt like, who the fuck am I? I'm just some dude with 10 subscribers who is like, oh, I wish the song was a certain way. People would be like, fuck you, man. That song has 100 million views and you're nothing. You know what I mean? And sure, I don't have 100 million subscribers yet, but at the same time, like I believe in where I've come from, and I believe in myself. I believe authenticity is a lot more important to me now than it was before. And now I have the confidence to just say how I feel about things. And yeah, there's days where, like I just did a reaction of Johnny Cash's Hurt the other day. And that song is the best reaction I've ever done in my life. I actually don't think I'll ever top that reaction. Like that song brought me to tears. That song brought something out of me that I've never experienced before. And yeah, like when I get something like that, I have to be authentic. I can't fake that. That song is so real, so authentic, that whether I like it or not, I'm wrapped up in that thing. It owns me for 5 minutes. That song has me. It moved me so much.
And it's interesting how I guess, I don't know if you originally had it, but it sounds like you're very comfortable in front of the camera, and you feel this sense of intimacy and comfort in revealing yourself in that limelight, of being able to have the capability to cry, in front of a camera. And that's fascinating, but as you said, it's because probably it's a reflection of you, but it's also a reflection of the people on the other end as well. So yeah, I guess there's no question behind that really. It's just probably something just to applaud, because I know myself, like I tried to, I've only one brief experience of trying to go in front of a camera. I'm very introverted. I find it hard to try and get in front of a camera and stuff like that. So it's amazing that you feel that you can be at that level of comfort. And do you feel that's something that came over time, or did you have it from the get-go?
100%, man. Look at my old videos, man. I did not come out of the gate with that much confidence in this thing. I was a lot more introverted starting out. I wasn't very animated. I wouldn't have been able to be vulnerable. I wouldn't have been able to even, like, the thing with vulnerability with these reactions, like some songs they put me in a mood that I'm just vulnerable. And if I listened to Hurt by Johnny Cash when I first started this channel, I guarantee you that reaction that I did the other day would not have been the reaction that I did then. Period. I was too nervous. The thing with vulnerability is not something you create. Vulnerability is something you allow. Vulnerability naturally comes about when you get out of your own fucking way. Like the moment, like I even noticed this with this Johnny Cash reaction. I was doing it. I noticed tears coming down my face. And the thought was, I'm crying right now. And I said, dude, shut the fuck up and listen to the song. Because I knew if I thought too much about how I was interpreting things, I would get in my own way. And then I'd be in my analytical brain. I wouldn't be feeling the emotion of the song. Mm-hmm. And what I've realized is that any vulnerability, any authenticity that comes out in these videos is something I allow, not something I create. When I get in my own way, I fuck up every time. When I want to say something, that's when what I say comes out as a gibbled mess. It's like when I'm my most eloquent, when people go, hey man, you really moved me with that message. Every time they say that, it's because I was just in the moment and just it was pouring out of me. And there's other videos where I was too self-aware and I was like, oh, I need to, this was really meaningful. I need to say something interesting. And I can't. I go flat. And that's the thing I think people don't understand about reactions is that when you start out, you're not going to have the ability to have one of those reactions that makes an impact on someone's life because you're going to be nervous. You're going to be in your own way. It's only when you're comfortable enough to get out of your own way and to just be a conduit, be a vessel for the message to come through, for the words to come through. That's when you get the good reactions. And you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to be comfortable in front of the camera before that can even happen. And that's why I said this month of March, I feel like this channel has kind of become something entirely different. This is the first time ever I feel comfortable in my own skin on this channel. And now it's truly therapy because now I wasn't comfortable in my own skin a year ago. I wasn't comfortable enough to reflect on my own life. To be there with myself, to have a conversation with myself. And, there were demons I had inside of me that I didn't even know I possessed. I wouldn't have been able to talk about them, to let them out. And now I've realized that's kind of part of the brand and the identity of the channel. Like, pretty much a lot of people joke that my videos are like therapy to me because it's therapy to myself. And it's only me being comfortable enough with the camera to forget the camera's there that I can actually have an authentic conversation myself and go deep with myself and explore parts of my psyche and my subconscious that I didn't even know were there. There are conversations I've had with myself with the help of music, with the help of a song like Johnny Cash's Hurt, that give me the opportunity to explore myself on a deeper level.
Yeah,
I think that's what. Sorry.
No, it's your grand, buddy. Your grand.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that's what all kind of great art does. It kind of holds a mirror up to whoever it is watching it or listening to it, and says, lets you see what you will in that piece of art, and it kind of it can open things up for you that you didn't even know were there, like you just said.
Beautifully put.
100%.
Yeah, it's beautifully put, man. Beautifully put. I'm gonna pass you back to Sean. I need a moment to reflect just everything that you said, man. It's like that stuff about vulnerability being an allowance rather than something that you kind of create is like whoa, do you know? Like that was really well, like
true though.
Yeah, it's like that stuff should be straight into a book battle, straight away. Like,
dude, that's hilarious, man. Thanks, bro.
But like, thanks, look what Sean, take it away, buddy.
Oh my god. Yeah, I suppose I'm trying to think of a question now kind of based on that, but yeah, just I suppose allowing yourself to be open and allowing yourself to be emotional on camera is something that, like, I suppose if I'm thinking about it for myself, I don't think at this stage, like if I was to try and make a video where I reacted to something that I thought would move me, I don't think, by virtue of the camera being on, I don't think I'd be able to allow myself to, maybe even just not allow myself to be able to put the stuff that I feel into words for out of some sort of fear. I don't know, fear of being perceived in a certain way, but no, it's I don't know where I'm going with it, but you know.
No, I get you. It's like, the fact is, no reactor has the confidence at first to do, like, every reactor that you see that you look up to that has 1 million subscribers, 500,000, 100,000, 50,000, 20,000, 10,000. Everybody that you're looking at, you're watching the present incarnation. You're like, everybody that you look up to, if it's Alex Hefner or Charismatic Voice or the Third Ernest or whatever, who the fuck it is, right? No Life Shack, whatever. It's like, look at their first video, because I guarantee you they are not the same person they were when they made that video. You see their first video, you're probably like, hey, I can do that. You see their video now, you're like, no way in hell I can do that. But the thing is, that's the process, man. Like I said, I was not able to do this. I was not able to make the caliber of videos I make now when I was first starting out. No way. I was too insecure. I was too nervous. I cared too much about what people thought. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had too many questions and too many questions of myself. And it was only, bro, like I just told you, man, it took till March, starting in June, to feel like I have something. This month is the first month that I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm on something. I feel like the best reaction I've ever done came out this month. And I'm like, okay, this is something I'm actually proud of. Like, I'm not proud of any other thing I've done for like 9 months. So anytime you or Alex wants to start a reaction channel or whatever, just know that you got 9 months to get to where you actually will end up. It might take you longer, might take you shorter, might take you 5 months, might take you 2 years. It doesn't matter. But the fact is, you're not like, don't beat yourself up now because of the way you are on camera when everybody sucks on camera on day one. I guarantee you too, that half the reactors out there, myself included, the first reaction we put on YouTube is not our first reaction. We've done 10 reactions before that, 20 reactions, 30 reactions, because they were so bad that we couldn't put them on YouTube. So the first reaction, you're like, oh, that's his first reaction. No, that's not even your first reaction. That's your 30th reaction. That's the first reaction you put up that you were actually able to put up because you weren't so fucking insecure.
Yeah. And I guess like this kind of relates to a question I wanted to ask. So look, what advice would you offer to someone who wants to start a YouTube channel on reaction videos, essentially?
Just fucking start it.
I love it. Straight.
Yeah.
That's it.
like anybody that's like, oh, you got to read this book before you start a reaction channel. You got to fucking have 10 girlfriends before you do that. Have sex with, like, it's like, no, man. Just fucking start a reaction channel, man. Make 30 videos and then post the 31st one. Actually, you know what? If you want a physical, practical guide to starting a reaction channel, make 31 reactions and then post the 31st. Do that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's great advice, actually. Great advice.
Advice for everything as well. I think it's, if somebody has an inclination that they want to start something, it's like the only thing that's stopping you is you. Just start.
Yeah.
True that. So, how would you basically organize and plan your videos beforehand? I do know that you have a structured timetable, but what process do you do before you actually go to reaction? Is it just simply putting on the camera and going ahead with it?
Yeah, so I'm fucking insane. So I'm like super structured, man. Like so I record 4 days a week. I take 3 days off just for mental balance, because for the first 7 months I record every single day, and I got burnt out and depressed as fuck and super anxious, to the point where every time I looked at my fucking camera, I almost had a panic attack because I was so burnt out about doing reactions, and I was so terrified of my own expectations of myself and the channel and what people thought of everything. Because there's a weird thing, man. You start off, no one gives a shit. That's easy. That's the easy part. It's easy when no one gives a fuck. Once people start caring, once you have 1,000 people, 5,000 people that care about your channel, now you have expectations. And more importantly than expectations of other people, you have expectations of yourself. Every demon you have is going to come out to play, and it's going to start judging you. And it might be crippling. It might be debilitating. It's like, it fucked with me, man. I got severely depressed in about November. Yeah. It was right after the biggest month of the channel's life. We shot from 1,000 subscribers to, I think, 3,000 in 1 month. And everything was going well. All my friends were so fucking, happy. And like, oh, dude, you must be so happy. I was like, dude, I'm fucking depressed right now. Straight up, I'm the most unhappy I've been since I was suicidal 3 years ago. It's like, the thing is, and I always say this, I couldn't have done this 5 years ago. I couldn't have done this 3 years ago because my own anxieties would have crippled me before I started. And even when it really started taking off, I would just given up probably. Not because it wasn't doing well, because it was doing well. It was that the insecurities I had were just getting too much. And that was kind of like the second phase of the channel. And after I dealt with those insecurities and dealt with that anxiety and that depression, the content got a lot better because it got a lot more authentic. Before that, there was authenticity there, but I was still trying. Period. I was still trying to be something. I was still trying to do something. And when I, went through that kind of bout of depression, I went like, what's this all for? Because I'm depressed right now. Obviously, trying to do something isn't working too well. So it kind of became a thing where I got off social media. I stopped talking to people on Discord. I stopped looking at comments. I stopped responding for like a month or two. I just fucking went like MIA. I just put out videos. I just put out content. I didn't think about fucking anything but the content. And what I noticed was that's when the content started becoming the best content it had been, is when I stopped worrying about shit. When I got into my own world, when I stopped actually thinking there was people on the other side of that camera, when I just looked at that camera as a way of looking into myself, that's when it started getting deeper. That's when it started getting more authentic. And then who I am today is, I still treat it very individually. I still treat it very, honestly, in an introverted manner. I don't really think when I'm actually making my content, I don't think about the audience. Because the moment I think about the audience is the moment I fuck up. That's when I start slurring my words. That's when I start getting in my own way. That's when I stop allowing the vulnerability to come through. When I think about any expectations outside of the moment, the best reactions come from when I'm just in the moment, feeling and connecting with the vibe of the song and just letting the words come out of whatever that song means to me. Those are the best reactions. And what happens is, because I went through all that shit, now when I make that reaction, I then at the end of the video, I can, talk to my audience, because now I can actually bring them into this thing, because I've got through a lot of my demons. I actually don't really care about their expectations anymore. I cared a lot more before. I care about the love. I care about what it means to people, but I don't really give a shit what they think. Like that, I used to care a lot about that. I used to be like, oh, I'd look at the fucking the comments, and I'd look at 50 positive comments, and then I'd find one negative one, and it'd be like a fucking dagger in my heart. Oh. And it would fucking hit me. And then I was like, what the fuck's going on? I just watched 50 people say it means something to them. And I don't really give a shit about that, because I just flew through 50 comments. I got to one comment that's negative, and I fall apart. It's like, what the fuck is that? And so like when I really kind of looked at myself and I looked at those kind of insecurities, that's when I had to just take a step away and get back to what the hell that this content was ever about. It was always about me wanting to give something back to the world, create something. It happened when I was depressed, when I was doing nothing with my life. I have more in common with that than I did 5 months ago when I was depressed, because now I'm just doing it for me. I've realized that at the end of the day, this is my therapy, and that's pretty much the first prerogative. And immediately behind that is, this means something to other people. But if I worry about that before I worry about the content itself, I'm fucked. That's when it goes wrong. When I put the expectations above the content, I have to put the content number first, expectations, and again, not even expectations, just having it mean something to people. I don't care if they liked it. I want it to touch their heart. That's what matters. That's what I care about.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. So, I guess a simple question, but which reaction video is your favorite and why? Is your personal favorite?
Yeah, Johnny Cash is Hurt is my absolute favorite reaction I've ever done. Because that song made me feel a way I don't think I've ever felt before in my life. That song, yeah, I think that was the first song to ever like really make me shed tears and just kind of go inwards. Like that song was a fucking journey. Like I just reflected on that for like 22 minutes after the song was done. And it just brought me to places and made me reflect on things I've never reflected on. Like the meaning of my own life and, you know, what life's about. Like I'd never thought about that before that song. Like watching Johnny just have his life flash before his eyes and him accept that he was going to die made me reflect on my own life and all the bullshit I care about. Like, the popularity of the channel, how much money I'm making, my fucking stock portfolio, the expectations I have in the future, getting on Joe Rogan. Like, when you're presented with death, like when you face the abyss, like none of that matters anymore. And it's like that song was impeccable because it made me feel like I was a 90-year-old man about to die. It put me in the headspace of being a 90-year-old man about to pass over and accept my own death. And nothing's ever made me feel that way. And I feel like what came out of me, what I channeled with that song was something I've never experienced before. And it's like, I don't even think that was like my reaction. Like that was beyond anything I can even properly articulate.
I can even see it when you're talking about the song now. It's almost a change in your demeanor, Anton, where I can just tell that it hit you really in a place, that it really hit you deep, like. But yeah, it's one of those all-time just moving songs. Even thinking about it now myself, it's just incredible. Like,
yeah, dude, it's a fucking trip, man.
And it begins so simply with the guitar, and it opens up, and yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No, dude, I love it, man. Dude, one thing I like how reflective both of you guys are. Like, one thing I will say is you guys are really good interviewers. I actually think you guys should start like a podcast or something. I think that you'd fucking kill it because you play off each other really nicely. Like Alex is a bit more of a goofball, and then you're kind of a bit more like composed, I find. And you play off each other's energies extremely
I thought
well.
it was the other way around, to be honest.
I've noticed in this interview in particular, the roles that you guys have is really interesting, and you play off each other incredibly well. How long have you known each other for?
Oh, near enough 2 years now, I'd say, Alex, is it?
And we simply started college together.
Yeah, the first day of college. I think you were the first person I talked to in college. Yeah.
We have this this start of college bromance, So
Yeah, dude.
I think, what was it? I think, did you help me sign into one of the computers or something? It was something like that. One of us couldn't get into one of the computers, and it was like, what was the password or something?
Yeah,
just something small like that. But
yeah,
knew straight away. I found a good buddy.
I love it, man. No, you guys are fucking awesome. I really enjoy talking to you guys.
I appreciate it, Anton. You too.
You too, man. You too. I think, like, if anything, I'm going to reflect about a lot of what we've been throughout this interview tonight. Like things that I never viewed vulnerability in that way. Like in terms of how it's not something that's like, you know, embedded with us. It's an allowance, you know, and I'm just like, whoa, like,
Whoa.
whoa, man. Like you hit me really deep there, like. Yeah,
I
and
love it.
I'm just trying to think because like we've so much there, and definitely, Anton, like we are going to be using, you know, some footage from this, like, and you know, obviously with your permission, because we want
Yeah.
to put it in our documentary, because you've articulated some, you know, a lot of our questions very well. So I don't know if there's anything else that I have to ask. I don't know about you, Sean.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else other than just to say thanks. Thanks for joining us, Anton, and thanks for being so honest and open with us. I'm kind of kicking myself that we didn't interview you sooner, but yeah, just I suppose thanks a lot for your time and really appreciate it. Great interview.
Yeah, man, my pleasure, dude. I had a fantastic time, man. It's yeah, it is nice when you can connect over kind of something with other people, you know, like, you know, because you guys evidently really love this genre, this industry, and it's nice to talk to people who really appreciate it.
Yeah, like Anton, you strike me as a person in Ireland, we would say like that, you know, if someone's a really good talker or someone's really good like at just expressing themselves, or you kind of say, he's a person I'd love to go for a pint with. So like Anton, I could say you're a person I'd love to go for a pint with.
Oh, dude, hey man, next time I'm in Ireland, I'll give you guys a call.
We'd buy you Guinness on the barman. You know, on the
Fuck yeah. Dope.
But no, sincerely, thanks first and foremost for agreeing to. I know the time difference can be, you know, a bit of a hassle and stuff like that. So, you know, thanks for committing, you know, time out of your busy schedule to, you know, reflect on what drives you to this passion, and definitely like we're going to end up showing you what footage we'll possibly use out of this, and you know, stuff like this. And even at that, you have this for your podcast, which is amazing too, man. You help us hugely by, you know, streaming it already and agreeing to that. So even a further thanks for being an awesome dude in that respect.
Yeah, man. I definitely send me the footage to this, because I will upload this as one of my podcasts for sure. 100%.
Cheers, man.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that's me over and done with. It's been a pleasure, Anton. Anyway, right, buddy.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Thanks a bunch, Alex.
No problem, buddy.
Thanks so much, man. We'll probably have to do it again sometime. We'll do a little wrap up show or something for the documentary, I'd say.
Yeah. We'll try and invite everyone.
Yeah, that would be cool if we got everyone together in a big meeting and I don't know, good shots or something.
Dude, that'd be fucking awesome. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Sean. This was man fucking dope talking to you, bro.
Oh man, nothing but a pleasure.
Thanks, bro.
Good vibes all around.
I might talk to Sean. Yeah, I might talk to Sean for about 5 minutes after Anton. All right, buddy. But just thanks a million, pal. Appreciate it.
100%.